to take advantage of that. We got some stories about Arizona State football. What a great year it was. Had what looked like the upset in the playoff, but couldn't hold on. Could not stop Texas on a 4th and 13 in the overtime. And they have great news anyway. They have a bunch of players, including Jordyn Tyson, who was out during the playoff. He's coming back, a spectacular wide receiver. He announces he is coming back. Let me go through this, and then we can get to Arizona State. Chris Karpman will join us tomorrow on the show. They also, this is from Karpman, you might as well call them Run It Back U. No regular starters left. No regular starters. Nobody that's a regular starter is entering the portal or left unless they, of course, like Scadaboo, is draft eligible. This is 50-plus returning players from the 2024 team. Last year's team had just 5 scholarship players and who had been on the team the year before in 22, dramatically continuing. It includes what could be 16 or 17 starters back for Kenny Dillingham and the Sun Devils.
Yeah, this is great news for them. That they lose Scadaboo, but they pick up the dude from Army, who, I don't know if you can expect anybody to be Cam Scadaboo again, but the offense is the offense. So they can, they can roll with that. Levitt's a year better. Jordyn Tyson's back. They'll have added to the portal as well for wherever they feel that they're deficient. But having guys back, 50 guys back on a team that went to the Big 12 title game, won the Big 12 title game, and pushed Texas to the brink of the playoff is nothing but good news.
It's going to be amazing when they get voted near unanimous number 1 and finish 13th in the league.
That's what Wet Blanket just said.
They'll finish 13th in the league after being voted unanimous number 1. Now, they probably will be a pretty heavy favorite at number 1 just based on kind of what we know about voting habits and things like that. Trying to think, like Colorado's going to lose Shador and Travis Hunter. Like, you won't expect them to be up there. So, yeah, I think they'll be probably the pretty heavy favorite. Iowa State will get some love, I'm sure.
BYU will.
BYU will get some love as well. But, yeah, I think Arizona State will probably be the favorite. Great news on Jordyn Tyson. A real shame that he wasn't healthy towards the end of this run and able to compete in those last couple of games against Texas in particular. But you know what? He's a great player. It sounds like everything's going to be fine with him. So that's a great returning starter back in the fold that you didn't really quite know for sure because of, well, is somebody going to come after him in the portal or, does he have his sights set on pros, I guess? But, yeah, over 1,000 yards, double-digit touchdowns, run it back, and that would be great for any fan base to pick up a Jordyn Tyson, but to just have him stay in Tempe, that's excellent news for Kenny Dillingham and company, and a great sign that all these guys are wanting to return and just continue what they've started building. And they've already built so much in such a short amount of time that's very exciting to see what they can do with another year under their belts.
All right, then there's this. Cincinnati got themselves a banger at running back. Tawi Walker, who was at Wisconsin, is headed to Cincinnati. He started, he's a California native, played JUCO at Palomar, and then went to Oklahoma for 2 years. Then Wisconsin, 864 yards and 10 touchdowns last year. I watched some highlight clips of him. Wisconsin will now turn to a sophomore, Darian Dupree, but a nice pickup for Cincinnati with a guy who's 5'9", 218, and runs hard from watching the highlight reel from him earlier this year.
Yeah, he's got 10 touchdowns. This is what you talk about, production over potential. I know he's at his third stop, but
fourth if you count JUCO.
Well, he got an extra year because of the year in JUCO. Yeah.
So look, if he's got that extra year and he's not an NFL guy and wants to go somewhere, Cincinnati's a great out like that. I know that they have a bit of a ways to go, but that's a really good offense for running backs. There's no doubt about that. So if I'm Tawi Walker, I think that's really good, although he could have stayed at Wisconsin, and he's also going to be in a good offense with Jeff Grimes for running backs if they run it correctly. So.
Yeah, he's a good little player. Had a nice second season there at Oklahoma before leaving, and had an even better year this past year with Wisconsin. So I think that seems like a pretty nice pickup for Satterfield and the Bearcats. You're losing Corey Kiner, and you'll have Evan Pryor back as expected. So adding Tyree Walker to Evan Pryor gives you a nice little duo there at running back, helps offset the loss of Kiner a little bit. And, he's a guy who's clearly produced a good bit these last couple of seasons, and they know what they're doing running the football. Got Sorsby back as well as a trigger man. So I think a very important pickup and also a very important year. I know we don't want to start beating the drums for 2025 season just yet because we got 8 months to get there now. But I do think we all are very well aware of the need to win for Scott Satterfield in year 3. So I like that pickup. That's a nice addition.
Yeah, and just let me pick mine, 1 through 16, and then go gamble on everybody I have at the bottom of the barrel. Dominic Richardson, I have to be honest about this. I like this young man. We had him on during that bizarre, cold, nasty game when Air Force beat Baylor up in Fort Worth. We had him on during that pregame show. He was at Oklahoma State, was effective there. Came to Baylor, everyone thought with that wide zone offense that Grimes was running, that he would be very good. Really never got going. Had injuries to deal with, and then, of course, with Bryson Washington, Dustin Pendergrass, even Richard Reese, just never really got himself entrenched. He announced that he's entering the transfer portal. Good luck to him. He's been at Oklahoma State, Baylor, and now wherever else he goes.
Yeah, and look, Baylor has 2 very good running backs that have jumped ahead of him on the depth chart that are both back next year in Washington and Pendergrass. Which sounds like a law firm now that I say it that way, but so if he wants an opportunity in his last year of eligibility to make any kind of hay, he has to go somewhere else. And Baylor's got young guys that'll come up through that they'll
They
want
got
to
that kid from Oklahoma coming in. It's a highly rated player too, but again, it's going to take some time. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I mean, good for him that he's got another year to go and try and end his career on a higher note. Didn't really make much of a dent in these last couple of years with Baylor. Had a bit more in terms of impact last year, but it was a very forgettable year. Nobody was paying attention to what they were doing last year because they were not very good. But he had, a good amount of carries, and then this year just was not in the equation whatsoever. And you look at their transfer classes, they definitely hit on some guys, but I say he and DeQuan Finn, definitely some misses in terms of what they ultimately did for you. There were a lot of, I don't know about huge expectations, but there's a lot of excitement certainly for Dominic Richardson to come over from Stillwater. But, that hadn't really amounted to anything, so understandable that he'll go play his 6th year somewhere, and good luck to him wherever that is. But, they're totally fine at running back. This is not even – honestly, if you probably polled most Baylor fans, they probably thought he had already left.
Well, could I admit something then? When I saw the image and I didn't know what he was doing as far as I had to look for the fine print, portal, maybe move on to the next level, which, by the way, Trevin Ma'ai will join us, Baylor defensive lineman, about that in just a second. But I forgot about him.
I think
that's not being mean. I think he
basically played his games and he decided, I'm going to redshirt.
Yeah.
Or they decided, and whatever, kind of like DeQuan Finn, where maybe there was an injury of some sorts, but ultimately it looks like a couple situations where I'm going to maintain my year and get this one back somewhere else where actually I play a bit. So, he saw the writing on the wall, and good luck to him. Good luck to DeQuan Finn.